Hi guys, future editing Katie here. It has been a very uneventful week. So I will be combining 2 weeks worth of weekly snippets instead of the usual one. And I hope to air this right before Thanksgiving. All right, enjoy. Bye. Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday afternoon. I had the dentist yesterday, and I have not fully recovered. It was cleaning an exam, and thankfully I don't need any serious work. Just a couple old spots need touching up from when I needed some work like 10 years ago. But today, our HOA was doing the leaf blowing for the season. And yesterday, the dentist appointment felt like a jackhammer in my brain. And today, the leaf blowers just made me want to scream like a banshee. I was so uncomfortable. But I think one thing that did help was I went into the dental exam like telling myself like this isn't going to be fun, but you're going to get through it, and it's okay to feel discomfort. And I think that made it a better experience than it otherwise might have been. So I just wanted to pop on and share that. I'm gonna stop this here because I am not feeling great, but I will be back as soon as I can. All right, bye. Hello, everyone. Good morning, shalom, boker tov. It is Thursday, and I had mentioned that some of my windows will be getting replaced. Originally, that was going to be next week, but that got moved to December. So I will be at home doing my usual thing next week. I'm hoping to do more formal filming. I've gotten some scripts ready for another reading wrap up. I don't know how much I'm going to get done today. It had been a little colder, but today it's going to be a lot warmer. I think it's going to be like 70 Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius offhand, but it's unseasonably warm for late fall, early winter in the Midwest. And with the change in temperature, all of the pollen and stuff is coming out to play, so my allergies and asthma are back in full swing. I got an appointment this morning, and then when I come home, I will see if I end up needing my breathing meds. The other thing that's going on is the migraine injection saga continues. I'm officially on Medicare now, and most of my drugs are covered, but Ajovy will not be. So I have to look into alternatives. So that is on the list for next week. I have to get in touch with my neurology clinic and go from there. The reason I have to do the migraine injections instead of an oral medication like Nurtec is because of my eyes. I've mentioned this many times, my pupils do not work properly. Pupils are supposed to dilate and constrict in response to light, and mine do not constrict as well as they should. This leads to a lot of light and a lot of heat getting into my eyes and the nerves and all that. And so the pills just don't work. I like the daily preventative pills just do not work. I have tried them. I have a PRN migraine pill that's per need, meaning as needed. But the downside to that is it makes my heart just about beat out of my chest. So it's gonna be a bit of a pain until I get that figured out. Hopefully I will not have to go too long without another migraine injection. I'm also hoping that getting my new glasses will help with that to some extent. They are supposed to be here by Monday, and I will definitely be doing a review video of my glasses. I love Zenni Optical. I cannot recommend them highly enough, and I'm looking forward to showing you my new specs. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Hello everyone, shalom, happy Tuesday. The migraine injection saga continues. I talked to my neurologist about switching from Ajovy shots to Aimovig, and I am waiting for that to go through insurance. Oh my God, American healthcare is such a mess. So the Ajovy shots, the retail value, if you will, of those shots without insurance would be $1,000 US a month, because you do one shot a month. It's absolutely insane. And I'm now on Medicare, so the coverage I get is pretty good, but for Americans who are on private insurance, Americans on average pay more with insurance than they would for the same care overseas without insurance. It's absolutely obscene. And that sort of brings me to why I decided to do the weekly vlogging the way I do it. I started watching independent vloggers in the chronic illness community when I was forced to join that community back in 2014. For anyone who's newer to my channel, I have a very extreme form of fibromyalgia with some very rare complications as a result of a freak reaction to Lupron treatments. Please don't worry that that is going to happen to you if you need Lupron for some other medical reason. Getting polio from the vaccine is more likely than the reaction I had. So if you need Lupron for some other medical reason, please do it. Please don't take this as a reason to not undergo Lupron treatments. In my case, I have a couple of spinal conditions which were diagnosed in 2023, and it's believed that that might be the underlying cause of the freak reaction. So, like I said, very rare. Please do not let that deter you from getting the care that you need. Okay. That was a major tangent. Okay. So
I felt alone. Okay, I felt so alone. I was 26 and I did not recognize my own body anymore. I had no social life because I had just gotten out of the cultiverse and I was basically bedridden, going through Lupron. And um, I started talking to people, and watching videos. One vlogger in particular who had a big impact on me was Jackie Blake Beckwith. She was known by her online handle chronically Jackie, and she also went by the nickname Jack. Um, she is no longer with us. She passed in 2019. That was really, really hard. But she was a huge source of encouragement for me, and she had been through so much, and she didn't shy away from the bad things, but there were good things too. Like, she was a complete person, and she showed all of it in her vlogs. And she had a service dog, and she was one of the people who um encouraged, empowered, inspired, whatever, empowered me to um apply for my own service dog. Vloggers like her showed me what could be possible, if that makes sense, and also provided a sense of connection and support. Because you know how many people I know in real life with fibromyalgia, like locally to me? One. Just one. Um, I'm not saying that there aren't other people, who don't have symptoms, but in terms of people with fibrodiagnoses in my life, only one of them is local and in person. The rest are online. And, we all need more in-person connection. And, I'm working on that. My social life um basically got snuffed out twice. First, when I left the cultiverse, and then again after COVID. I'm trying to rebuild. I know it's important. But without online connection, there would be so much isolation, and mental health would be so much worse. And um, if I can give even one person, a fraction of the encouragement, the empowerment, the inspiration that chronic illness vloggers have given me, then it's worth it. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm showing, the migraines, the rough days, the brain fog, all of that, because someone out there needs to know they're not alone. It's not good to feel like you're alone. And that is why I vlog the way I do. Alright, this has gone on long enough, so I will end this clip here.
Okay, so I am sitting and knitting while editing a video in which I am sitting and knitting. Two knitting Katies. I don't know if the world is ready for this. Hello everyone, happy Thursday evening. This is going to be the last segment for this week's vlog. Next week will be slightly more interesting. I know this week has been a lot of me, chatting, getting more philosophical because not a lot has been going on. That's how life goes sometimes. I am still waiting on the Aimovig injections. There are so many pharmacy delays in the US. The system is just falling apart. It's insane. I would change pharmacies if that would take care of the problem, but unfortunately, the problem is not unique to one particular pharmacy chain, if that makes sense. So, sorry, I am so tired. I don't think I've talked about this much because I was still trying to wrap my head around it, but last year, my doctor of 10 years left the clinic system that I'm in, and she had been my doctor from the time I was diagnosed with fibro in 2015 up until the end of last year. And since then, I have been seeing a lovely nurse practitioner in her clinic. She's kind of been overseeing, prescriptions and stuff like that until I was able to figure out what I wanted to do in terms of longer term care. We both mutually felt like I was a bit too complicated for her. Internal medicine is the specialty that is recommended for primary care doctors for people who are medically complex. I think medically complex is the mild way of putting things. So I have a consult with one that who was I have a consult with a specialist who was very highly recommended by this nurse practitioner in the same clinic. And please take this the way I mean it when I say I am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to feeling better. My post-COVID syndrome is not getting better. If anything, it is getting worse. Having fibromyalgia makes you more susceptible to developing post-COVID syndrome. They used to call it long COVID, but they're now starting to use the word post-COVID syndrome. I'm always saying words mean things, and long COVID implies that it's still contagious, and it's not. Nothing that's happening to me now is going to be contagious to anyone. It's all going on inside of me. It's not contagious. Sorry, I'm so tired. But I was thinking about when the COVID shots first came out, people with significant health issues were given priority and vaccinated before the shots became available to the general public. And my parents fought very hard for me to get priority and be in the first group of people to be vaccinated. And I remember this was 2021 when the vaccines came out, and availability was very limited, and there were so many clinics that weren't even open because, things were still kind of raging. And my mom and I drove, I want to say 2.5 hours one way in the densest fog I have ever seen in my life. And I don't think it would have taken 2.5 hours if there wasn't that much fog, but you could barely see. It was so horrible. And so we had to go at a snail's pace, and it got me thinking about how much of a first world bullshit thing the anti-vax movement is. My parents, drove me, a couple hours one way, and in developing countries, families walk for miles, to you know, to clinics and like relief programs, Doctors Without Borders, you know, that kind of thing. Families will walk for miles to those clinics to get vaccinated. And if they knew about the anti-vax movement in the US, they would probably be like, what the frack is wrong with you people? Yeah, and you know, it's really recent, the whole anti-vax thing. And I think I won't go on too much about this, but I will say, because I've been thinking about this, I think it's because like my generation onward, we haven't seen all of these horrible diseases really, and that's because the vaccines work. Like, you know, my parents' generation, they can name people they knew who've had things like polio. My mom has at least one extended relative who got polio, and my mom herself either had mumps or measles, one of the M's in the MMR vaccine, and obviously she lived, but it was not a fun experience. Yeah, like I don't get the anti-vax movement. Yeah, I will just leave that there. Okay, so I will end this weekly vlog here, and I will be back soon. All right, thanks so much for watching. Bye. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a huge favor and hit the thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon. Like you Bye.